The Senate on Wednesday rejected a deal. The Democrats put in a deal to, what would they essentially say, end the war, thwart the war, if you will, in Iran. And of course, well, that failed.
The 47 that voted in favor of this, which would have said effectively the president can do no more operations, no more bombings, nothing in Iran unless he comes and gets approval from Congress. The 47 senators voted yes on that. All the Democrats except for John Fetterman, and they added Rand Paul, which is ideologically consistent from him. Then you have on the other side, those that voted against it, every Republican plus John Fetterman. So one Republican and one Democrat switched places on this vote, but it did fail in the Senate. A similar measure is expected to be put forward in the House today. That is co-sponsored by Ro Khanna of California, as well as Thomas Massie of Kentucky. That is the continuing resolution 38, and this is directed at the president pursuant action Section 5C of the War Powers Resolution to remove United States Armed Forces from unauthorized hostilities in the Islamic Republic of Iran. Doing effectively the same thing. It is expected to fail there as well. But what you're seeing now is this partisan split on this action that is reaching a new level. It used to be that when the United States engaged in military conflict, there may have been differences in policy, in outcome, and even loud vocal voices saying the president, what they're doing is wrong. But the diminishing language, I think, is what is new here. The way that you are hearing Democrats talk about the administration, and I think it is damaging, one, to the reputation of the United States, to those men and women in uniform that are fighting currently, because you have statements like this. This is from Senator Mark Kelly, a Democrat from Arizona. You may know him from his videos telling people to not obey what they say is illegal orders. That was the whole big issue with him earlier in this administration. But let's go ahead and hear what he had to say on with Jen Psaki, so former alumni of the Obama White House. And it's shocking when you hear it, so I need you to listen. This is Bite 7.
You could pick a random group of people off the street tonight here in Washington, D.C., just a random group, and they could probably do a better job than our government is doing right now with this. They don't have a goal. There's no strategic plan. There's no timeline. And what this is likely to lead to is, again, a long war with a lot of dead Americans and no rationale for how this is helping the American people.
When you hear that from a veteran himself, an astronaut, a sitting U.S. senator, that he is belittling the planning of the military as well, because it's not as if Donald Trump himself is sitting there drawing up war plans. That's not how it works. He knows that. And not that Pete Hegseth is the only other person involved in these decision-making processes. When you hear him say that you could pick a random group of people off the street of D.C. here tonight and they would do a better job than the U.S. is doing. Right. One, the United States, and Pete Hegseth, the president, Marco Rubio, have been very transparent. Then they also have been showing the outcome, effective outcomes. The loss from one strike, one missile that got through is tragic. But that is war, as well as it is not this mass chaos where all of our bases are burning in the Middle East and our ships are being sunk, like people like Mark Kelly warned us would happen if this went forward.
When you hear Mark Kelly, I mean, you hear the stank of politics on it. I mean, really is what it is. I mean, it's just politics 101. You don't hear someone who's actually coming out from, by the way, respect his service, he probably would have a lot to share. But instead, politics has infiltrated him. Maybe he's another one that thinks that 2028 could be a good political run for him, because you see that on him. You see the tone that's coming out of him. It is a tone of politics. It's not a tone of war. It is not a tone of conversation that actually could lead to betterment of our military. Now, time will tell whether this war or this military conflict was worth it. When any human life is lost, of course, you're going to weigh what the worth was of it. And what I'm hoping is that President Trump and Pete Hegseth, who I've very much thought that Pete Hegseth has done a good job over the last few weeks, I hope that what we're going to see is they do have this plan and they do have this strategy. And all signs would point to that they do. I think that would be different. If we were months into this, and I think even John Fetterman kind of mentioned that, like we're 36 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours into this war, really, into this conflict, that it would be a little different if we're talking about a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, we're still in it. Now, look, it is apparently, America has that issue. We know that it is a problem that we've had many times before. So it's not an unwarranted question. But when you come at it from a place that feels so political and not military, not from his expertise, I would love to hear from a non-political Mark Kelly at this moment. I would love to hear from non-political from all sides of the military world. But sadly, when you go on one of these programs, that's not what they want, and that's certainly not what he wanted to express. He wanted to express a political position, not a strategic military position.
I would respect their position if it came across as a statesman. If it was a statesman Democrat that said, I ideologically disagree with this. I do not think the president should be leading us down this road. I am concerned about the cost on American lives. I can respect that position. What I cannot respect is them acting not like statesmen, saying that they are bumbling their way through this. If you talk to any global war on terror veteran right now, maybe not any, but if you talk to, I would say a vast majority, about would they rather have the early days of Iraq and Afghanistan executed how it was with the leadership that was then there, even through the Obama years, or would you rather have it executed like it is happening now? I think you would get an overwhelming response of the way that the president and the leadership in the military and the Secretary of War and the National Security Advisor, Marco Rubio, are executing this action against Iran is how the military should operate. Right. This is efficient. This is a plan. This isn't them trying to use academics and all this other theory involved. This is getting back to the basics of lethality in the military, and it's working. The fact that we are even using more conventional methods and we're not fighting an insurgency like we were fighting in Afghanistan and Iraq, it makes it such a different war. And having our leaders use words and phrases like they're bumbling through this or anybody on the street in D.C. could do a better job is disrespectful to our men and women in military.